Well, we go from great boxing champions and prospects and fights to boxing's biggest court jester and sideshow, Adrien Broner. Adrien Broner gets a decision over Jovanie Santiago in a fight that he could have easily, probably should have lost. Just to give you an example of how incredibly incompetent the judging was, Adrien Broner won the first round, I think, on 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards without landing one single punch. Not that you heard me right. Not he didn't land a single punch. Won the round. After the fight, he went on an interview with Brian Custer. I was pretty disappointed. I like Brian Custer, but Broner went on there and started cursing and swearing about Steve Farhood for showing that he thought that Broner lost the fight, and Custer just kind of like took it in stride. I mean, I was super disappointed that Custer didn't defend Farhood. Nevertheless, let's deal with the fight first. Adrien Broner gets the decision in a fight he probably should have lost. I don't think he looked good. He barely threw punches through most of the fight. What'd you think of the fight itself?
I think that if there is an afterlife and I come back as a fighter, I want Al Heyman. I want Al Heyman to. I like Al Heyman, but seriously, I want Al Heyman to promote and manage, advise. He wears all the hats, but I like him to manage me because it's incredible. It's incredible what he's doing for his fighters, and in particular, this fighter. With the networks that Heyman controls or works with, he's able to get guys back and get them into significant paydays, significant fights, when it looks like they're ready, to go out to pasture, or when it looks like the ship has sailed already on their career, or at least on part of their career. I mean, Broner has lost all his big fights. You'll help me with them if I forget some of them, but I mean, whether it's to Thurman, whether it's to Madonna, whether it's to, of course, Garcia. He had a draw with Valdez. I think it was Valdez. But whatever. But all his fights at that level that you expect, if the guy's a superstar, you expect him to win at that level, like the Mayweathers did, right? And like the Canelos do, and like the Spencers do, and like the Crawfords do, whatever. Not that they've had that many signature fights yet, so I'll check myself a little bit. But you expect them to win at that level. Well, Broner hasn't. He hasn't. And he's come up short at that level, right? So here's a guy... He signs a contract for 140. He comes in at 146. I mean, a lot of fighters, they got big problems when they do that. But not here. Not here. Not here. Not when you have Uncle Al. You got Uncle Al, taking care of you, and you still get a big fight. They just changed the contract. All right, we'll change the contract. We'll make it 146, and I guess you pay a little extra money to the opponent, Santiago, to go along with it, and now it's a 147 instead of a 140 fight. No problem breaking the contract and not making a weight. Where there's a problem for other fighters. Listen, I know a lot of managers, a lot of fighters personally that are not happy with just seeing it because they just feel like there's other guys out there that have earned the right to get those fights, to get those... To fill in those dance cards, so to speak, and to get in those slots. There's not a lot of those slots available, and there's less and less now in the world of boxing. So you're given one of those slots to make money, to make a name, to be a name, to have the glory, to be on a network. You're giving one of them to a guy who has lost at that level, who has not made the weight, who has had all kinds of problems outside the ring, and he continues to get second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth chances. And to come back after all this, right, that we documented, to give Broner a fight with a favorable, appealing opponent that you can beat, that you're supposed to beat if you want to go that far. Wow. And that's what he had. That's what he had. Again, taking nothing away. Santiago's a tough kid, but everything else I said is true too. And so you give him an opponent that's a very winnable fight for him, right? And what does he do? He loses the early rounds. He gets out hustled. I don't think anyone could argue that. He gets out hustled, and then he comes on late, and they wound up giving the fight. But what really happened is not indicative of the scores. That's the problem I have. I don't have a problem with a draw or 1 point here or there, but I have a problem with those judges' scores, because if you look at their scores, well, Santiago never got in the ring. There was only one guy in the ring that night. You and me were seeing a mirage. We thought we saw two guys. Ken, really, you got to be careful with that cameo T. It could do funny things. We thought we saw two guys. We didn't see two guys. There was only Broner in there shadowboxing. That was it.
Yep.
There wasn't, because if you go according to these judges, yeah, I'm calling you out again. Yeah, you deserve to be called out again. Okay? So, anyway, if you go according to the judges, there was only one guy in the ring. There was one guy in the ring that night. Because they sure as heck weren't watching the fight. Not the fight that was on. Not the fight that we were watching. So, and either way, go ahead, give it to him if you want. Give it to Broner. I'm not going to go crazy, but not with those scores. Not with those scores. So, and Broner, what did he do all night? Look, for everyone with all the potential, all this, all that, right? He threw one punch at a time. For the most part. 90% of the time, he threw one. If you really look at it, he threw one punch at a time. Almost all night long. Very rarely did he break off 2-3 punches